All right. So today we have Michelle Bodine with eXp Realty. And well, tell us, where are you at, Michelle?
So I am in southeastern Washington. I always say south central, though. We're not really in the eastern corner. We're in south central Washington in the Tri Cities. Nice big area here.
Very good. Very good. And so how long have you been in Tri-Cities?
That's a trick question. So technically, this round, 18 years.
Wow.
Um, yeah, 18 years. But I graduated here locally. My family built most of the housing in one of the cities. So my family has been here since the 40s.
Wow. That's quite a history. That's really interesting. And what kind of properties do you specialize in mostly?
Mostly I do residential. I do dabble in commercial. I actually enjoy it, having been a small business owner myself. I love finding the right space to help a business expand. Um, but mostly I do residential, and majority of my clients are either first time or VA buyers. My husband was prior military, and so we kind of have soft spot for military families. So I like to help them as much as I can.
That goes back to being a trick question because didn't you move a lot growing up?
I did. So not necessarily because of the military.
Hmm.
My family was just a little nomadic. My dad liked to buy houses and fix them, and 10 years later he'd move on. And my mom was just, she liked to move around.
Nice.
So I've moved 30 over 30 times. I think we're
Wow.
at 33. Um, so I've lived in everything from a 400 square foot apartment or a 600 square foot military prefab house to a 3,600 square foot house. Um, Duplexes, townhouses, apartment complexes, everything in between.
Wow. Well, I would think that would make you a moving expert.
I have a few tricks, yes. I
Sounds,
have a few
sounds like
tricks
if
I probably
somebody's,
don't share enough.
yeah, it sounds like if somebody's looking to sell their house or buy and sell, they should give you a call. Now
Yes, I can usually walk into a floor plan and pretty quickly say, that was a bad idea. Because,
I
um,
see. That's right. You can actually draw floor plans too, can't you?
yes, I can. I can. That's one of my favorite de-stressing hobbies is sketching floor plans.
That seems like it would be a good you'd be a good custom home builder's representative.
That would be an amazing thing for me to do. Yes.
You would be open to that, huh?
Absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely. I've got an interior design degree, and that little dabbling in architectural structure systems, but I found that it's been helpful for families to be able to see. You walk into a house, a lot of us can't visualize, what it would look like if that kitchen wall was gone.
Yeah.
And I can put in that extra bathroom for you visually. I've got a computer program I can do that. And
Nice.
I helped a family this year that needed to have a special design to a bathroom and needed it in a certain location. And we weren't finding houses that had that, so we found houses with room for it.
Nice.
And
Nice.
we work around the system sometimes.
That's great. That's great. And it seemed, if I remember correctly, you actually did a medical lease for someone in the past year or so, right?
Yes, yep. I've got a doctor friend that I helped her find a new space to open her own practice last year, and this year she was able to expand and almost triple her space, I believe.
Nice.
That was super fun, and it actually happened to be a medical facility that she moved into used to be my children's pediatrician, so I was super familiar with it. So that was kind of a fun bonus.
Excellent. That's great. That's great. And I'm curious, are you investor friendly?
Absolutely, absolutely. I love seeing the raw ground and building up something fun, or helping rehab a property and see what it could have been. Maybe I'm a little too creative and imaginative that way. Having lived in, I mean, one of the houses I grew up in was a 1905 Victorian,
Wow.
and so I've seen a lot of variety,
I see.
and being able to kind of see the vision of what it could be and make it better for another family.
Mhm. Are you currently working with investors?
I am.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's great. And let's see. Now, I think you have a property working on in Connell.
Yes. Yes. I have the Burger Factory listed currently. And so a really fun mom and pop little restaurant and the only main drive-through burger place in town. So super excited. We hoping to have that go under contract first of the year.
Very good. Now, I probably should have started out with this, but you kind of have a unique perspective on homes. Maybe you might want to just kind of run with that idea.
So yes, in all of that fun and variety of homes that I've lived in, some were good, some were not. And my my personal little branding is happy, healthy homes because sometimes they're really, really not.
Right.
We've got, there's a property I've been working with recently that it was built to code at the time, but in the 80s there was piping that was used that it has been recalled. And the home was flipped earlier this year, and the owner did not catch that. And so that plumbing is a concern. And that's not something that maybe that the buyer would have ever known. But also being aware of the other toxins, asbestos and lead in the paint and other things like that, and knowing the harm that those can cause long term with exposure. And sometimes it's okay if your walls are painted and sealed and everything's good, no big deal, we move on. But being aware that if we take out that kitchen wall, then we're going to have the right remedial services in to make sure everyone can breathe afterwards. So making sure that it's safe and families can actually grow and enjoy their home and not worry, not cause health issues.
Yeah, not get sick from home, right?
Right,
yeah,
right.
Gotcha. It sounds like you might have probably good contacts for if a home needs some kind of remediation as well, huh?
Yes, yes.
People could call you if that's just something that they're wanting to, kind of clean up their home, so to speak, and make it less toxic.
Right. And good inspection contacts that have, some of them do the water testing or the moisture testing, I guess. So, or do the air testing for mold and things in the air. So, and
I think I think we were discussing this the other day. My favorite. It's been 4 years since I've been in Tri-Cities. My favorite water system, like basically a well tester. So he's not doing regular inspections anymore because he says everybody that has a truck and a ladder is an inspector now. He's not, and then people want just kind of, so yeah, he's not like that. He's an ex-fire chief and so on. So if they need even his information to get their well straightened out, he's quite the expert, understands iron fouling and all these different kinds of things and go haywire with a well. So reach out to Michelle if you need that information. And well, that's great. And now, would you say there's is there a buyer avatar or like a certain type of person, client that you would prefer to work with? I mean, like regular retail buyer, investor buyer, strong personality, lead me by the hand personality. Like, who do you work with best?
That's such a hard question for me because I think we all say, oh, we really want the buyer that just wants the simple house and it's just a Cracker Jack and we can find it really easy. But that's not the ones we get. Those don't exist. I feel like that doesn't exist. And I joke a lot that I get the complicated situations where there's a very, very specific need and that it really cannot have X, Y, or Z, or it really must have A, B, and C. But overall, I think the ones that have been the most fun for me have been the ones that are relocating to the area.
Yeah.
And I can guide a little bit easier where the inspections and things like that, get them connected to the proper sources because they're not getting inundated from family and friends of, use my Uncle Johnny. And they can get some really good, solid groundwork to make sure that house is good. But then also being able to help them acclimate to the community and get them connected to other, just, I've got a fun little sheet that I do for the relocating ones that is here's the restaurants and the activities in the area, or things like that, helping beyond just getting in the house. I want to make sure you enjoy your house in your neighborhood.
Yeah, that's terrific. So, and if somebody wants one of those lists, they should reach out to you, huh?
Absolutely.
Very good. And what would you say about selling properties? Like, do you have anything unique you do in terms of marketing or anything like that?
I have access to a couple of systems that other agents locally don't.
Okay.
Cash buyer systems and online offer programs. A couple of different ways that we can list. I do offer flat rate listings. So usually I have an option. If you need to move quickly, I have an option. If you are willing to sit on the market and test the waters for a while, I probably have an option. So I like to be a little creative with things too. So if you don't fit the box, I don't fix the box either. So I'm totally okay with coming up with a new plan that fits a person's needs.
Very good. Very good. Well, that's wonderful. And what's the best way for people to reach out to you? Like, is there a website or something they could go to and connect with you there?
Yep, my website is just my name. It's Michelle with 2 L's and Bodine.com. And all sorts of info on there. Quick, easy buttons to click to start your home search or to find out how much your house is worth. And, our market is changing. It's always changing. And it's going to be fun to see what next year brings. I think we're going to have a lot more houses on the market and a little better hope for our buyers here to find what they need. It's a little tight this year, but I think next year's going to be great.
I see. I was going to say, did you have any other things you want to communicate about what's the market like right now? And are you finding buyers are pretty aware of how the market is, or when they come to you, do you need to manage their expectations some because they heard this from so and so and my dad said, or this, and maybe somebody that's otherwise credible, but they're not necessarily in the business full time every day, right?
Right. I think a lot of people, buyers and sellers both, definitely see things online and kind of run with that info. Zillow, number one. And I know another local agent, a friend of mine, 2-3 years ago, she actually did a study on Zillow, on how accurate Zillow was. And nationally, it was off by about 10%. Locally, it was about 30%. So the Zillow numbers are not, don't listen to Zillow. But for the most part, I found that it's actually, buyers are usually a little more aware of maybe what's on the market, but not necessarily where the market's going.
Yeah.
And sellers are a little more aware of where the market was and thinking it's still there. And so definitely prices have come down, and we're not in the frenzy we were 6 or 8 months ago. But that doesn't mean it stopped. And definitely with the Tri-Cities, we have our own market. We are different than the rest of the world, and we have our bubble where things are always still moving. So
that's great. Well, there's closings every day, so
Yep.
Right. So, well, if anybody needs help over in Ohio, that's where I'm at, North Central Ohio. Happy to help. And of course, if somebody needs a good agent in another area relocating from Tri-Cities to somewhere, they can reach out to you to find out who's a good agent. It's actually a real shortcut to ask a good agent who's a good agent somewhere else, because, after a while in the business, you start to understand what the shortcut questions are. And
yes, that's we were talking earlier. Over a third of my business this year was actually relocation families, and whether they were coming from or going to across state or in and out of the state. So we've got a great. We're lucky. Tom and I are really lucky to have a national group that we can swing things back and forth a little bit and help people out.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And I really appreciate that resource we have access to. And it just makes it a little bit quicker, because I think in some cases for me, I will, interview 7 or 8 agents for somebody if they're taking what I'm going to say seriously,
right.
If they just kind of, I'm not sure, then I may make a few phone calls with those shortcut questions to cut to the chase. But if we're really trying to find an ace in the hole, I'm going to interview a bunch of people. That's the way I roll. So because they're a reflection of me. Any referral I make is a reflection of me.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah. So I've
Yeah,
done
we want
that.
everyone to still want to talk to us when we're all done.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the thing. The one thing I like about real estate, I think it's true for you too, is that, at the end of the day, like I like making friends. And so real estate gives me an opportunity, a chance to meet friends I wouldn't otherwise meet. And it's through service. And so, yeah, and I know you share the same ethos. So yeah, it's great. It's great working with you too, Michelle. And yeah, fantastic agent. If anybody needs help in Tri-Cities, yeah, definitely call Michelle. Yeah, she's done a lot of cool things, including some commercial stuff, which, yeah, it's a little bit different ball game. But yeah, over in Ohio, feel free to give me a shout. I'm happy to help.